This week on CMA Live, we're talking motorcycle audio in a big way, a brand new bookkeeping service specific to 12-volt retailers, and a couple new goodies in source units and amplifiers. This is CMA Live, brought to you by SiriusXM and sponsored by 5-Axis Innovations. And it starts now. All right, guys, last week I had a chance to talk to John Catalano from Diamond Audio, and we talked about their brand new MSHD14 source unit, and we had tons of questions. So, guys, can we get a deeper dive? So guess what? We gave John a call, and he has got this set up for you today, guys. We're going to deep dive into some of the unique features that the Diamond Audio MSHD14 has to offer. John, thanks for joining us again. Now, some of the comments that we had in our video had a lot to do with something you talked about when it came to the line driver performance and the output that this device is able to produce to optimize that sound quality. I understand that this time around, not only we're going to talk about it, you're going to show us exactly what this unit is capable of.
Thanks, Ben. I'm glad to be back and ready to show some of the extra features that we've added to this media player. One of those being the Bluetooth line driver, which nobody has done yet. So some of the things that we have that are a drawback is all the phones are different these days, and mostly because the companies are trying not to be liable for lawsuits from hearing damage. So they're limiting the output on the Bluetooth. So even though our unit is capable of 5 volts, depending on the phone, you might not be able to achieve that. So what we've had to do is get creative, and we can't fix everybody's phone, but we can fix it in our radio. So we've added a line driver on Bluetooth. So a default setting at full volume would be whatever your phone would normally put out. And the case of the phone that I'm testing with today, it's 2.8 volts. And I have it set up on a meter so I could show you. So what I have here is I have an oscilloscope and a meter hooked up, just so you can read it either, because the oscilloscope's very small on the voltage readout. And I have it at full volume on the phone. We're streaming Bluetooth, and I'm getting 2.8 volts. So we're going to go into the menu, and we're going to go into our audio settings here, and it allows us to change the output level, especially for Bluetooth and media, past what the phone would do normally. So because we have that line driver, so we can go ahead and ramp these up until we hit 5 volts, which is right there. And now if you can see on the oscilloscope, we have no clipping, but we have 5 volts of output with the radio at full volume.
I'm sure I'm not alone, John, when I say I'm very thankful that you've taken the time to set that all up to demonstrate exactly what we're talking about, because this makes the distinction. This is not a game that you're going to get distortion. I'm very happy that you mentioned that. This is a legit line driver built into the unit. And I want to give you an opportunity to kind of explain why that's so important, especially when it comes to motorcycle audio.
Well, as you know, or maybe not know, that on a motorcycle, pretty much it's either full volume or no volume. We like to call it an on and off switch. So we want to make sure that even at full volume on the radio, there is no distortion. We want to give you the best possible platform to start with the best possible sound quality to start with, and allow you to go to full volume and feel safe while doing it.
Okay, John, let's stick with this topic of performance when it comes to the audio side of things. We've established a line driver. It's going to get you that 5-volt output, which, might I say, might be the only radio in this category that even does that. So, of course, we're talking about the MSHD14. DSP. Now, DSP is not new for motorcycle. We've spent a lot of time on CMA talking about it, but I wanted to go through the DSP capability directly with this device without even having to add an external DSP. So walk us through the DSP menu and how it all works.
All right, so as we were saying, we have a full DSP, and because it's 10 channels, we have actually 6 full EQs on here. So what we have is what we call a compensation EQ. So this is for channels 1 and 2, which are front and rear, and then the additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 RCA outputs. And what we can do with these is if we have an anomaly, let's say we're using the deck power to run our tweeters, and they're really hot at like 6K or 4K or whatever, we can back those off a little bit so they don't, rip our head off, and we can adjust that there. And then we can do that if we're doing the same thing. If we have tweeters on the rear channels too, maybe they're in the back, we can back those off a little bit. And then let's say we're running mid ranges or mid basses on channels 1 and 2 on the RCAs on an amplifier, and maybe they've got a little bit of a peak at 400 or what have you. You can back that off there. So this is what we call compensation EQ. So you can go through there and you can fix any anomalies you may have with the system. Then, obviously, you'd probably have your crossovers and stuff set here. Again, for each pair of channels, you have your crossovers, high pass, low pass, band pass. You can adjust your slope. And you get a graphic representation of what's going on there. And then fader, you can link the fader if you like. We don't do that, but you can if you need to. And then this is the final EQ. So this number 6 of the of the set. And what here is, this is like your daily EQ. So you're gonna, you have your presets, like if you're just gonna switch it as you're listening to whatever kind of music you might be listening to, or you can set your own user presets here. And it's really easy to adjust. Like you can literally just scroll your finger along. Maybe if I do it from the other side, it's easier to see. And you can adjust your EQ, and then you can press and hold and save that to your settings. And then finally, you get the time delay. So the speaker placement on a bike is just as important as it is in a car. We're not really looking for staging, but we're looking to equalize out any cancellations we might have. So if we have different distances between the rider and where the speaker placement is, we can adjust that here. So let's say you got front fairing speakers and a lid kit. Well, the average rider, let's say like me, 5'9", it's about 6 inches of distance that's different between the front speakers and the rear speakers. And what happens is there's a cancellation of mid bass. So what you could do is you can go in there and you would add 6 inches of delay to those drivers. You can put it on inches, and you'd add 6 inches, and then all the audio would reach the driver at the same time. So you get that full impact of the music and nothing's wasted. Because again, on the bike, we don't want to waste anything.
And last but not least, we had a lot of comments coming in with regards to the built-in iData-Link Maestro integration tool that comes with the MSHD14. John, if you wouldn't mind, last time we didn't really get a chance to see it, but can you show us some of the advantages of the connectivity and the type of displays that come up in the menu side of things when you connect via the iData-Link Maestro?
I'll be glad to. Thanks for bringing that up. We are the first company to have the Maestro piece integrated into the radio itself. So we're pretty excited about that, and it allows us a lot of different features. So one of those being, you can do motorcycle info. So if this was hooked up to a bike, you would be able to see if you had your headlights on, your high beams on. If you had the tire pressure sensors, that would show up here. It would tell you what the tire pressure is. Check engine lights, things like of that nature would all be in this screen. And then also gauges. So again, this isn't hooked up to a bike, so it's not going to show any of the data, but you could have your miles per hour here, your tire pressure, your oil pressure, your voltage. You could have your 0 to 60 time. You could have your 60 to 0 time. These are all user selectable, and you can go through the different menus and add all of that through the interface. You would just press and hold, and then it would give you an option of all the different things that you could add to that screen, and then you just click it, and then that becomes your new gauge. But again, unfortunately, because it's not on a bike for this demonstration, it's not going to show you that. And then it also gives you the aux controls. We have 6 outputs that are programmable through the Maestro that you can do, electric kickstand, lighting, air ride, pretty much anything that you can trigger with voltage, you can activate through that aux control. All right, Ben, well, thanks for the opportunity to go into some of the deeper features that we've included in this radio. It's really a lot to take in. If you need more information, I implore everyone to just visit the website, diamondaudio.com, or talk to us live on any of the social media sites. You got Facebook and Instagram and things like that.
Hi, Jody from 5 Access here. Just want to bring everybody up to speed with what we do and how we do it. We're a display company. We do a lot of custom graphics. Obviously, we do custom audio boards. We do RGB lighting. We do graphical work up top. We also do all the different custom amp mounts. So for all your store needs, we do front counters, we do home audio sections, we do lighting, everything that you're looking for, give us a call. Again, it's 5 Access, 414-326-7162.
All right, so like so many of us in the industry, it's great that we're installing cool goodies into cars and we get to fab and all this great stuff. But you know what? Another important part of the business is your bookkeeping. Is your bookkeeping up to par? Are you happy with the way that your business is being handled from a bookkeeping standpoint? Well, today's guest has some solutions for you, and are we ever happy to have her on? We're talking to MAR.30. She's opened a brand new bookkeeping service tailored specifically for the 12-volt electronics retailer. Have I got you hooked yet? Well, let's learn more. Amari, first of all, welcome to the show and thanks for coming on. I guess the first question we want to ask is, what exactly is your company all about?
Hey Ben, thank you so much for having me on. I started a company about 7 months ago, and we decided to do bookkeeping. And I wanted to gear it towards 12-volt industries because I grew up in the industry, and I completely enjoy processes and kind of diving in the weeds of bookkeeping. So with our company, we do bookkeeping, payroll, reporting, and classifying all of your chart of accounts.
You know, Amari, I think so many of us don't like talking about bookkeeping. And so we're happy to be able to have an exposure to somebody like you, which clearly has some experience. And I want to dive into that a little bit more. Amari, for those that don't know you, you are no stranger to the 12-volt industry. And I think that is really clutch to understand because not everybody understands our business. So I'd like to hear how you fit into the puzzle.
No, definitely. Bookkeeping is it's universal. Everybody needs it. But when it comes to your business, we need to dive into the company and to the logistics of everything and actually understand the company. So as far as 12 volt, I worked for my father for about 10 years at Perfectionist Auto Sound Security and at Sound Shield. And so I was in the weeds. I was ordering. I was a sales manager. I did inventory. I got to install certain things. So I have a lot of experience in the 12 volt industry. I know the vendors, I know the product. And so when I get to do the bookkeeping and I get receipts, I already know what the inventory is. I know what the SKUs are. So it's easy for me to classify the right transactions and making sure that we're taking the expenses and putting it in the right category. And I already know your business without having you explain it and breaking down each part of it.
All right, Amari. So experience, check mark. Let's move past that. So um, lots to talk about here. Let's talk about kind of like level one, kind of baseline. You know, what will your company bring to a 12-volt retailer to really get them set up and start off on the right foot?
So the first step, we would definitely look at the books and kind of do an overall health, like a check-in of your books. And then what I actually will do is look at your chart of accounts. I will see how it's set up currently, and then we'll go ahead and start numbering them. After we do that, I will then separate your income and your cost of goods. So everything will go into categories. So instead of all of your income hitting one bucket where it's just an income line and all of your cost of goods hitting one line, I will separate it into audio income, audio cogs. I will do remote start security income and remote start and security cost of goods as well. And we start breaking it down to see how your company is. This gives us visibility of how much money each category is bringing in and how much you're spending in each category. This will then result in better reporting. We can then look month over month of how your remote start sales did over January versus February, and then year over year as well. So this definitely gives us better insight and financial visibility. And so you can make better choices. You can then forecast your company to say, hey, the first 3 months or the first quarter of the year always does worse in audio sales. Maybe we can work in a sale there to boost audio sales. We know that remote starts sales are going up in that season, so we can kind of back off on advertisement there. And it just gives us more visibility into the company by setting it up this way.
Well, I don't know about you, but as a business owner myself, you certainly have my attention, Amari. While I have you, let's talk about the importance of proper bookkeeping. What are some of the benefits? What are some of the key things to keep in mind? And maybe explain the significance of having, accurate financial statements versus, well, let's be honest, not all of us have the best ones done.
Definitely. Bookkeeping is very important and essential for your business. I recommend everybody have a bookkeeper. If you don't, at least know the ins and outs of how to do it yourself. First is just financial analysis, knowing what your books are, where your money's at, and then inputting it correctly. A lot of the books that I have touched and kind of seen is your expenses all kind of go into one bucket and they're not hitting the correct accounts. And then you're not getting the correct tax breaks. So if your interest and all of your loans aren't separated with principal and your interest is a write off, there's just certain things that we want to look into that sometimes you don't have time to go through every single receipt and separate everything out, or even save your receipts and then organize them into a Google Drive or into a Dropbox. So if you ever got audited, everything's already there, organized by year, by vendor, and so forth. It's very crucial to have all this information set up beforehand versus during tax season. You have a box of receipts, you have everything just kind of thrown at your CPA and nothing is organized, versus if you have a bookkeeper who's tending to it monthly, you can get monthly financials, and then you won't have to worry about tax season because everything's done for you. That goes into kind of what I provide is monthly reconciliation, monthly reporting. I do daily transactions. So I'll input all the expenses, all the income. I match the income to actual invoices to make sure it's hitting the same accounts. And then I do quarterlies, 1099s. I do payroll as well. And then there's so much more that we can kind of build into anybody's portfolio.
Well, as you mentioned, you can do so much more. So let's dive into that a little bit more because I can imagine that not all businesses are built the same. They all operate differently. So, what can your company do to help with tailored solutions to make sure your solution is the one that fits that business?
Definitely. So first we will do our initial call. So it's a consultation. I will ask you a series of questions of reconciliation. I will ask how your financials are, who's doing your bookkeeping, and then our second call is actually a discovery call. And I'll dive into your books. I'll log into your QuickBooks, or if you have Sage, and then we will start grading your accounts A through F, and just do kind of a report card of your business. And then we will let you know what we can do to help you, and then we basically work together what your needs are, what you want to handle yourself. And then if you want me to be your full bookkeeper, or if we just want to do like a quarterly check-in, we can do a yearly check-in. Just depends on the financial health of your business. And then as far as all of the data, we make sure that everything is secure. So we have our own logins for accountant access, and then we have everything's going to be through Dropbox or through a Google Drive. This helps with any kind of security breaches. Nothing will go via email. So your statements, all of your financial data will be safe and secure, and you're not worried about any kind of breachment or anything like that.
Amari, I'm not gonna lie. As a business owner, like I said, you definitely have me interested. You're checking off all the boxes. You're saying the things that I know I need to get done, but maybe I just haven't found the right person to do it. So let's talk a little bit about price, because let's be honest, many small businesses out there may not feel that they can afford your services. Um, and yeah, I guess I want you to speak to that because I think that's important.
Definitely, Ben. I completely understand what you're saying. Price is something that we do need to talk about because it is a factor in kind of in your business. So first goes back to tailoring our solutions to you into the business. So what we would do is after our meetings, I would give you a series of plans. I give you a best, better, good option. So what we would do is we can do a hourly rate, which would be just $35 an hour, and then we have monthly packages starting about $300 up to about $600 a month. But that all depends on, we look at your revenue, we look at how many transactions you are doing through credit cards, your bank statements, all of that. And then we also look at the needs. So if we're doing payroll on top of bookkeeping as well as tax preparation, that all kind of bundles together. And you get to choose what plan you want to work best with. And then if we just start with say an hourly rate, and that's what we're starting with, and then you decide, hey, in a couple weeks, we actually need a little bit more work. We want to switch over to a monthly bookkeeping. We can do that, or we can do the opposite. We can start with monthly bookkeeping, and then as we get your books cleaned up and you feel like you can handle them again, we can scale back what we're doing, and then move to just an hourly rate. So we're very flexible. You're not locked into a contract or anything like that. We want to make sure, again, that your books are good, secure, and right. And so as long as we can make sure that you're successful, that helps us, and then we will be successful as well.
Well, speaking of success, I was wondering if you could share with us maybe some of the comments or feedback that you've been getting from some of your established clients on, what your service does for them and how they feel it has helped their business.
Definitely. So the biggest thing that I hear from clients is, you lifted a weight off my shoulders. I'm so excited that I have somebody to trust. And that's kind of the reoccurring thing. It's just taking away this daunting task of piles of receipts, or having to quote unquote do like paper pushing. Like, you didn't get in the business to do your books. You didn't get in the business to do your accounting. You got into the business because you loved your craft and you loved what you did. So what I can do is take that stress, take all of that from you, make sure your books are in order, give you financial security. So you know that, hey, everything's getting handled. You get monthly reports, you know what's going on. And if you ever have questions, you can always reach out to me. You have someone who's actually behind the phone ready to talk to you and ready to answer your questions.
Well, once again, Amari, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, we here at CMA talk about everything that has to do with 12-volt electronics. It's a breath of fresh air to talk about this side of the business, which affects almost everybody that tunes into our program. I'll leave you the last word. What message do you have for dealers tuning in that may be interested in finding out more about what services you can help them out with?
Thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. If anybody is interested or has questions, or just want to have us look at your books and just kind of give you a scale, give you some ideas, even if you want to do your books yourself and you just need some advice or you just need some direction, we're here for you. You can go to our website. It's schwartzandcompanyllc.com, or you can always give us a call. We would be happy to help or guide you in any way we can. We can give you some tools and templates to just set your company up for success.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and its reliability. People love it.
Guys, moving on to some car audio equipment, this time coming to you from Boss Audio. Now, Boss has been on quite a few times on CMA Live talking about all the different categories, including power sports and motorcycle. But today we're getting back to its roots, and that is, of course, in the car audio division. Today's conversation is going to revolve around two topics, one being source units. Yes, brand new big panel source units coming to you from Boss, as well as some new amplifiers. So we connect now with both Colin and Chris at Boss. Colin, obviously, we've already had this conversation. Boss has been on an absolute rampage in the source unit category, but coming to dealers this year, we've got some new offerings and some upgrades, I hear.
Right, Ben. Today we're going to be talking about our Boss Elite line of head units and also amplifiers. So to start with the head units, we have showing here our 14-inch and 12-inch floating display. That has been a huge success for the company, and we're just adding more features to the Elite line. Previously, before, we had flush buttons here, but on the new buttons, they're hard mount or hard tactile buttons. So just a little difference between the two. We've also added a USB-C port on the side. That's for charging and playing. We have illuminating lights that downfire from the screen itself that match the illumination of the buttons here, so you could customize your ride. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same as before. The mounting is a single DIN, also on that ball joint, so you can move it around, up and down, tilt, everything.
Oh, I do love the new improvements, Colin. I mean, listen, there's something to be said about tactile buttons. And of course, I'm happy to see you haven't removed that potentiometer or that volume knob. I think that's something that once you have, you definitely don't want to take away. So I'm happy to see that. The USB-C, absolutely plus. And I'd be curious to see some install pictures of what that downfiring illumination effect is going to have. It's certainly going to enhance the interior of any vehicle that's being installed into. Now, as far as operation or features within the programming of the radio, I'd like to ask Chris, have any improvements been done as far as connectivity or adjustments?
That's right, Ben. So back with wired, wireless, CarPlay, Android Auto, all certified. A couple other things I'd like to point out is SiriusXM Ready, which I know has been a long time coming, and we're really excited to introduce that for the Elite line specifically. A couple other things I'd like to point out are with the hot button here, with the adjustment, without having to even go to the settings. New EQ layout. We have a crossover time alignment. So this is packed with the DSP. A couple other things, just a refresh to the UI, just to make it more user friendly and really add to the user experience.
You know, if I look back a year or two, you know, Boss really came up the ranks as far as popularity with regards to the source units. You guys came up with an amazing package, you know, a large screen, like you said, Chris, the connectivity with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless, and now you're adding SiriusXM to the mix. I mean, it's really refreshing to see that not only have you taken some of your successes, but you've added onto that and made them better and continuously evolve. So, I mean, I'd like to hear your comments, Chris, as far as the future of this category for Boss.
Absolutely, Ben. So as far as further development of and refinement of the Elite line specifically, we've worked on really separating it from the standard Boss, whether it be with the MAP pricing for one, but also the warranty for another. But feature-wise, it was a big deal to really create and really make it stand to being elite. So with our engagement, Knowledge Fest, we really take the time and we really take it to heart and seriously are mindful of the feedback we're getting from installers and the general consumer as well.
You know, Chris, that's really great to hear. I mean, you guys are creating some high value product that are just absolutely loaded with features. Of course, we just covered the full line of Boss Elite floating screens available in the 9, the 10, and now the 14-inch with these amazing features. And yes, SiriusXM ready. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Let's get into some amplifiers, guys. So amplifiers, brand new series. Apparently, these are coming newly rated. So let's learn more about the brand new amplifiers from Boss Elite.
Yeah, Ben, we're really excited about the new Boss Elite amps coming soon. We debuted them at Knowledge Fest in Las Vegas, and we're happy to show you here. So they're going to be all Class D size, so small form factor. 4 different amps, 2 monoblock, 1 4-channel, and 1 5-channel. And Chris is going to talk about the specs.
So again, following with the 2 monoblocks, we have a BE 400.1D and the BE 600.1D. Both are stable at 1 ohm. So the 400 watts at 1 ohm on the 400.1, relative to the name, obviously, CEA rated. So we're really starting to just keep up with the rest of the pack as far as the ratings being congruent with, you know, their true capability. And a couple of the things I could point out is just a real sleek, clean design. And on the end, you get red illumination. So it just kind of adds a little bit of a touch. If you have it tucked up somewhere in a trunk or under a seat, just kind of lets you know it's there. And as far as the other rest of the lineup, you have the BE 600.4 up to 150 watts by 4 at 2 ohm, and the 730.5D, which is 70 watts by 4 at 2 ohm, and the 5th channel being 450 watts at 2 ohm.
All right, congratulations on some nice Class D small footprint amplifiers coming to you with some CA rated ratings with some real power. So let's sum it up here, guys. I mean, we're talking about Boss Elite. We've got a whole slew of source units, right, that are already very popular. You're backing that up by supporting the dealers with a selection of small footprint amplifiers, as we all know is kind of the ticket right now. So sum it up for us. You know, why do dealers need to take a closer look at Boss Elite in particular? Let's remind them what the benefits and advantages of that are. And then let's talk about availability of the products we discussed today and where they need to go for more info.
Definitely, Ben. So A couple of big advantages would definitely be our in-house tech support. We have a great team. You're talking to a live person, and here and then you may even get something passed along to me. So a couple of big benefits, obviously, the warranty. We stand behind our product. One thing, it only being not only affordable, but it's also a quality product, and the warranty really kind of backs that ultimately. And definitely nowadays with retailers having to compete with e-commerce online, brick and mortar, it's really, really important to have offer a brand that's MAP protected. And that's definitely one thing that we're able to stand behind.
And so availability on these guys, what you see here, the Elite floating head units, they're going to be mid Q2, maybe closer to the end Q2. So they're coming up really soon. On the amps, maybe a little bit after that, so beginning of Q3. But as always, if you need more information, you can head to bossaudio.com or contact your dealer.
CE Outlook is dedicated to keeping the car audio and electronics industry informed on the latest issues, trends, and product releases. New feature stories posted daily. Visit ceoutlook.com for the latest industry news. Well, when it comes to motorcycle audio, obviously this is a hot topic, especially right now with the spring of the year. But there's a lot of products out there that deal with the older model bikes, and rightfully so. However, these new 2024 models in both the Road Glide and the Street Glide have some options out there. And today we're going to go to motorcycle audio specialist CICADA Audio with Marty Dean standing by. Now, Marty, this new platform is out there. There are riders, and they want some better sound. How can CICADA help?
So here's CICADA Audio. We're aware that the 24 Street Glide and Road Glides are out on the market. So today we're going to be talking about what we have to offer in the way of replacement speakers that are some direct fit and some with some minor modification.
All right, Marty, first of all, good to hear that CICADA has some solutions when it comes to speaker fitment on these newer Harley Davidsons. I guess let's go the obvious. Let's start with the front speaker setup. What different solutions do you have that these riders can go to for upgrading their sound in the front?
So Ben, here we have a 2024 Street Glide front speaker pod, and this new bike has got some challenges, but here at CICADA, we've got some speakers that are going to be direct drop-in for this model. So our CH65, which is kind of our go-to, kind of what's created this brand for us. We've determined that with this factory front pod, that this new CH65 V2 is a direct drop-in. So no modification required at all. It simply just bolts right into the factory location, and no spacers needed, fits behind the factory grill. And this is going to be kind of the powerhouse of the line. This is what a lot of the go-to shops, a lot of the shops are going to when it comes to speaker performance. Earlier this year, we introduced a replacement, or not a replacement, but an upgrade from that CH into our new carbon fiber CHX. And a little better power handling, a carbon cone, and fully waterproof. The speaker is also a direct drop-in in these 2024 Street Glide front pods. And not to leave out, but the Road Glide as well has some challenges there too. The 2024 Road Glide pod is completely shaped differently. It has a different mounting depth challenge. So similar to the Street Glide, the CHX65 is a direct drop-in. Again, no modification, no spacers needed, fits behind the factory grill. Although this speaker drops in, the CH version, which is a little different in mounting depth, this does require some spacer. You can see that we've got a slight 1/2-inch gap between the back of the speaker mounting and the pod. So we offer a 1/2-inch spacer that allows that speaker to just drop in without cutting or heating the inside of this. Still fits behind the factory grills with no modification.
Well, Marty, first of all, thank you for having the prop. That really demonstrates exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking about replacing the factory front speakers on 2024 Road Glide and Street Glide. So good to know. Different options there available. Let's move now from the front to the back onto the saddlebags. What can we do to upgrade the sound from those?
So Ben, on the 24 CVOs, they come with a factory, a 5x7 to 6x9 type of adapter. And, those pose some challenges. A lot of these guys don't want to cut those lids. They don't want to modify this brand new bike. But they want a better sound. They want to improve the output of those rear speakers. So we've got our CXX69. This speaker, shallow mount, 200 watt power handling. We have tested, and this speaker is almost a drop-in. A slight 1/4 inch spacer underneath this. Once you remove the factory grill and remove that factory speaker, this will fit without modifying the lid at all. No cutting to the mounting basket underneath, no modifications, and the factory grill goes right back on. We'll have these extra 1/4 inch spacers available here in the next 30 days. So the CXX69 with a 200 watt power handling is a great upgrade from that factory CVO stereo. And again, without modification, those riders aren't going to have to deal with, the fear that the bike's going to get modified at all. So this is a kind of a direct drop in. There are other solutions, but do require some modification to that mounting basket that's underneath. Our CHX or our CH speakers will require some pretty extensive modification for them to clear. But this is a direct drop in with a slight gap, with a slight spacer to cover the gap. So.
All right, Marty. So we've talked about some solutions for the front. Now we've got some factory drop-in replacements for the rears, which is great. One thing that we do get asked here a lot, and it comes up in conversation, is that next level. And when it comes to motorcycle audio, guys, next level means bass. Either it's mid-bass drivers or even subwoofers in the saddlebags. Marty, this is something that seems to be a trend. People want more bass out of their rigs. What is CICADA Audio doing to help facilitate that?
So Ben, you're absolutely right. When you're adding 10-inch woofers of any type, mid-bass or subwoofers, we've tried to take a lot of the guesswork and a lot of the fear out of that. This type of install is typically next level, and a lot of those shops out there are always fearful about maybe miscutting or not having the right placement of these rings. So we've created a 10-inch ring kit that also has a cut-in template. Similar to our 6x9 kit, we've taken all the guesswork out of that type of installation. Locating the factory mounting holes in the bag, this template simply fits straight, lined up every time. Once you've located all the holes, you've drilled all this out, our ABS trim ring on the inside makes subwoofer installation a no-brainer. This type of work can be done, maybe 2-3 hours at most. We've taken all the guesswork out. It's really simple, and we think that this is going to be a game changer for the category.
I gotta say, Marty, that one piece right there, I think is going to cause some chatter, because you're right. Getting to that level, putting those bigger woofers into such a small space, you don't want to mess that up. And I think that piece that you just showed right there is going to get a lot of fanfare. Okay, let's wrap this up. We talked about front speakers, we talked about rear, and of course, we talked about this new trim kit that's coming down the pipe. When is this stuff available, and where should dealers go to get more info?
So Ben, all the speakers we talked about today are in stock. The 10-inch ring, the template, and all the associated bag installation accessories to add those woofers will be available in about 45 days. To hear more and to see what's coming, go visit us at CICADAaudio.com.
Mark your calendar. CMA Expo is returning in 2024 to the Toronto Congress Centre on April 5th, 6th, and 7th. A huge thank you to all the Canadian dealers who attended and made the inaugural event such an amazing success. You spoke and we listened. Thanks to your feedback, we've implemented some important changes to enhance your experience even further. Confirmed exhibitors for the 2024 CMA Expo are Alpine, Automobility, Importel, Trends Electronics, Gemsen Distribution, JVC Kenwood, Sony, Pioneer, Dix Performance, SiriusXM, Ericsson Consumer, Metra, Stinger, Fortin. Save money and take advantage of the early bird registration. But hurry, early bird ends Monday, January 29th. For more information and the latest updates, follow us on social or visit cmaexpo.ca. Now, you don't need me to tell you that if you're not doing motorcycle audio, what are you doing? This is one of the hottest categories in our industry right now. And there's nothing I love more than seeing fresh, innovative product getting injected into this fast growing category. Of course, we're talking about today about Precision Power and their motorcycleaudio.com offering, more specifically, a brand new source unit that they launched a couple months back in K-Fest in Vegas. We've got their product specialist, Brandon Meyer, with us to get a deeper dive into this very anticipated version of their source unit. Now, Brandon, first of all, congratulations on this innovative new product. I know you guys work so hard to always come out with feature-packed products for your customers, but I wanted to get you on today to kind of get a deeper dive and tell us a little bit about how exciting this V2 version of this source unit is for Precision Power.
Hey, Ben, thanks for having me on. We are super excited about our V2 head unit, which will come out later in April. It's super feature packed and a huge step up from our current offerings. Got a lot of good features to talk about.
All right, so let's get into it. We're talking about the V2 brand new source unit coming out for Harley Davidson. First and foremost, let's establish what the application is, Brandon.
You're right, Ben. We do have quite a few products in our stable. This new V2 head unit was built specifically for 2014 to 2023 Harley Davidson road glides, street glides, even trike models.
Well, Brandon, since you're the product manager, let's get into some of the, let's call it the top 5 features that are really going to make the distinction with this new V2 version. The first thing I want to point out, and it's kind of obvious if you haven't seen it yet, is the screen. This is a ginormous screen for a source unit, and I'm sure Harley Davidson riders are going to appreciate it.
That's right, Ben. That screen is massive. It's a 8.3-inch color TFT LCD with super bright 1000 nit brightness. You're going to see that thing in any kind of sunlight condition. It's got great contrast ratio, so you can see it in any kind of environment.
Now, with that giant screen, I'm just thinking about the type of display interfaces that we can play with here. And I know one of the ones that a lot of riders talk about is navigation. Now, navigation is, means different things to different people. But certainly with a screen that size, it's definitely going to be very visible. Talk to us a little bit about the onboard navigation that is featured with this radio.
We listened to a lot of feedback that we got from consumers, whether it be via online reviews or online comments, etc. And one of the things that a lot of riders asked us for was for onboard native GPS navigation. Some riders are a little uncomfortable or unsure about Google Maps and Apple Maps. So we listened to them and we put in iGo navigation, which is powered by NNG, a company out of Budapest, Hungary. And they are by far one of the best GPS map and points of interest providers for our industry. So each V2 is going to have that system built in, and it's going to include maps for all of USA and all of Canada as well, for those of us north of the border. Also, riders in other parts of the world that do happen to get their hands on a V2 can update their head unit with maps from their country via NNG's portal.
Continuing on the theme of listening to your customers, and I see these comments as well on some of these boards, communication, especially when you have a passenger with you, is critical. And of course, on a motorcycle, well, you're not yelling at your passenger, you're communicating through headset. So what have you done to incorporate that feature and functionality into this new V2?
Yeah, Ben, we listen to those people as well, just as you have. So we've incorporated a multi-Bluetooth network into V2, which allows not only the operator and also the passenger of the vehicle to connect to the head unit, and they can choose whether they want to listen to music, whether they want to listen to the navigation commands that's coming from either Apple Map or Google Map, or even from the native iGo solution. They can choose which one of those to hear. There is also an intercom function, which when we use AirPods or Google Buds or the Bose earbuds, you can communicate with each other back and forth. It's a really cool feature, which is not seen in any other product in the market. So we definitely went ahead and listened to those guys. Of course, it works with the Sennas and the Cardos and the Lexan headsets. Of course, you expect that, and they do work with that as well.
The next feature I want to talk about is something I noticed on the website, Brandon, and I wasn't sure what it was, so I definitely want some clarity on this. But I know it has to do with fun, because the mode apparently is called Rally Mode Music Sharing. Can you give us some more details?
Rally Mode is this awesome music sharing or music broadcasting, you may hear us use that term as well, that allows a master writer, whether it be the leader of a group or a pack or what have you, can broadcast his music out to an unlimited number of people over a 300-foot radius from him. So anybody that has a V2 in their motorcycle, or maybe a new one later on that adds a rally mode to it, can pick up that signal, and everybody can share that concert-like experience, if you will. We think that the guys will like that a lot when they're at bars or at rallies or what have you, where everybody can rock out and have a blast.
Well, if you guys are tuning in, we have Brandon Meyer from Precision Power talking about the brand new V2 source unit. It's been loads of fun because this radio is packed with fun features. And when it comes to motorcycles, well, it has to be fun. On the flip side to that, when a customer wants to invest some money into improving their radio, there is a certain aspect of that it happens to be with the sound quality. Now, Brandon, something we don't talk about often when it comes to source units is the amplification. But you guys didn't spare any expense when it came to this part of the radio, did you?
No, Ben, we certainly didn't. In this new HDHU V2, we've added a Class D amplifier inside. So that's going to give us about 40 watts of power with 2 ohm, and that's what the factory speakers are. So you're going to get the most power out of that amplifier as possible with the OEM speakers. Or if you've upgraded to aftermarket speakers, there's plenty of power to get you rocking down the road.
Hey, Brandon, it's been a great interview learning about the brand new and upcoming V2 source unit from Precision Power. Just in some closing thoughts, I'm sure there's a ton of other features that we didn't have the time to talk about today, but definitely I want to hear a little bit about the integration side of things. And tell us, when is this going to be available?
You're right, Ben. V2 is also compatible with Datalink's Maestro RR or RR2 integration modules. They can plug into the CAN bus system of the Harley-Davidson motorcycles and display a multitude of gauges and diagnostic information that the user may not have had access to with their own OEM head unit or any other aftermarket head unit. So that's always a great function that people look forward to. V2 is going to be out later this month. Into April is our target. You should definitely pay attention to motorcycleaudio.com for any kind of updates or any of our social media.
All right, that's a wrap for this CMA Live All Access, brought to you by SiriusXM and sponsored by 5-Axis Innovations. Make sure to check out all our videos at cmanetworks.com. We'll see you next Saturday.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.